Hello, everybody. I am so excited to have with me today in the virtual studio Senior Agent Gund. Now, Senior Agent Gund is doing this voluntarily, coming back to talk live with me. She and her daughter completed Teach Me ADHD in October of 2023. And I love to invite families who are willing to record to give me some insight into their story, how they heard about the program, and all of that. So, as we're talking, I hope to have this interview help you make your decision about whether Teach Me ADHD is perfect for you and your family. Obviously, there are opportunities for families to meet me and ask questions through my mini simulations. But hopefully this interview will give you something to think about. So that way, either you can enroll now, since we are actively enrolling at the time of this recording, or every time the agency doors open. So without further ado, thank you, Senior Agent Gund, for coming today.
My pleasure. It's a joy to see you again. So
Yes, me too.
yeah.
I was wondering, though, if you could kind of just let the people know where you're calling in from and how you found out about the program initially.
Sure. I'm calling in from Toronto, Canada. So I think I was the only Canadian, or my daughter and I were the only Canadians in the class. So that was
Yes.
great to represent. And, I'm not even 100% sure how I heard about it. I did attend, I think it was called the ADHD Palooza for parents of kids with ADHD. So I'm not sure whether you advertised there and something stuck, and then maybe Facebook reinforced it. And actually coming out of that Palooza, it was really good. So I recommend that as well. However, there was so much information. It was a bit overwhelming. Not a bad thing, just in my current state of life, there was a lot. So I thought, where can I begin? What is one thing that will help my junior agent Squishmallow and I learn more about ADHD, work together on something? And so yeah, your course came up and I chose you. I chose the ADHD detective program. So Teach Me ADHD.
And I'm so glad that you did. So just as a backup, so the ADHD Parent Palooza is co-led by my colleagues and friends, Diane Dempster and Elaine Taylor-Klaus of Impact Parents. Wonderful, wonderful program. They put this on every year. I was one of the speakers and I did advertise there.
Okay, so that's probably
that is definitely how you heard about it.
And I highly recommend that too. I was just like, where do I begin? There's all these good things, right? What's my first or next step?
Yes.
When there's so many things to work on, and life is full. It's so full. So, but what is our best use of our time that will be most effective? And so I chose Teach Me ADHD.
Yeah. And I'm glad it worked out timing wise to be able to attend that and then enroll in the class and then start.
Yes. And we got, I think, the last spot. We went to your mini session and we liked it. And I was like, signing up right now because I didn't want to miss joining right then and then.
Yes.
Right then and there. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. You guys did join that mini class simulation just to get a flavor of what it was like and to meet me.
Yes.
And so that is one of the things that I recommend to all families who are interested to try to attend if there's one available. Yeah. So if you could maybe tell me, because I know that you've been looking for resources, you found this program. Now that you've been through it, as a parent, is there some way that you could explain what it was like, what the experience was like for you and your family?
Sure. So if I'm looking at my perspective as a parent, I think I felt less alone. Having you as an educated guide, but then also other parents, seeing other parents, I felt like, oh, this is something we're doing together. It's giving us a common language for my daughter and I. And my husband was there too. He wasn't usually on screen. He was usually like, he's more introverted off to the side, but still engaged quietly. It was a good amount of time. I liked that we were working on something throughout the week. They were fun activities. Some were challenging. Some of it reinforced what I had already been saying, but it carried a bit more weight coming from you. Or, hey, all these other kids might be struggling with this a bit as well, but we can work on it together. And so I think for my daughter as well, I think she saw comrades. And I should also, and my daughter actually was the eldest of the group, and that didn't matter. And one thing I really appreciated is because sometimes, especially my daughter, it does take some meds. They're a little bit worn off sometimes by 5 o'clock. They're also a little bit hungry. And so my daughter needed to play with slime, eat popcorn, get up, move around, but she was still listening and engaged. She never wanted to miss. And I felt like it's okay. This group gets it. My daughter is going to listen and be engaged in her own way. So, yeah. And you met our puppy multiple times because that was part of the process. So,
yes. And I will say, because this is a class that you attend on Zoom in the comfort of your home, you have the ability to be with your dog, to have popcorn, to get up, to move around, just be comfortable in your own space, even though you're attending this class with other families.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I should say we've reviewed, and we do think like the way that you set up the class, that there's those tools, like even those key changes. There's a couple of them I'm like, Nev, I don't remember what this one stands for. But for the most part, the ones that we use the most, like breathing exercises for emotional regulation, or the buckets. We used that the other day, which, yeah, you'll explain what that is. But those things were really useful tools that have carried on and have allowed us to continue conversations.
Yeah. So I'm looking off to the side here, not to spoil too much of what's in the class, but I can probably show this really quick. Hold on one second. Let's see. So what Senior Agent Gund was referring to are these visual cue cards that the junior detectives actually put together during one of the classes, Training Mission 3. And so these come in a supply box, and it reinforces things and topics that we talk about during that training mission meeting. But we do know that kids with ADHD need visual cues, visual reminders to practice. And so these activities that we sort of talk about and are planned as part of the curriculum reinforce a lot of that. Hands-on activities, which really reinforce after the class for parents and kids to talk together and reinforce and practice.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And the games that are included too, that reinforce but are fun. So fun is a high value for our junior agent Squishmallow.
Yes. Yes. Well, can you tell me, like, because you just said that outside of the class, each class is 60 minutes and it's 8 weeks long. How much time outside of class did you really spend doing the extra work? Because I think for parents, when they're looking at signing up, they're like, how much time really is it? What are we getting ourselves into? What can they expect from a parent's perspective?
So I am not phenomenal with time. I don't know exactly how long, but I do know that I'm a working mom who's also back in school with 2 kids and a business. Anyway, like a full life and training a puppy, and I could do it, which means there's a really good chance you can too. What I appreciated is you lead it with grace. If you didn't get it done that week, it's okay, and you can come back to it, because sometimes there's sickness or obstacles or tests or things like that. But some of it's just playing a game. So seize the moment and play the game as a family and talk about it. Let your junior detective do a little bit of it at their own pace, step in when you need to help. So we found it fairly manageable. And sometimes you could spread it out, and every once in a while you're like, and we need to cram this week. So let's just put it in there. But I thought it was really good. And I listened to your podcast as well for the extra support while I was walking or doing the dishes. And so I think it was a very reasonable amount of time. And it was already doing things that you probably already would want to do. I've listened to some of the other people who share about their experiences, and they talked about bonding with their kid. And I think that was really helpful, because I think as parents, sometimes there can be the extra, or at least as this parent, there can be the extra bash of, we got to get this done. Come on, let's go. Let's move. The concert. And so to to just remember we're working on something together and recognize that it's going to be a different pace. So it just helped with perspective and bonding. So I think it's time well spent, and it was reasonable.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And I mean, kids can be kids, and sometimes they're just like not in the right headspace to sit down on Sunday at 5 o'clock. Was that ever the case at your household? And if so, what strategies did you have to use?
Yeah, actually, well, with my junior detective, popcorn is like the answer to most problems in the world. So that's easy.
She speaks my language.
Popcorn.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll pop popcorn and no, she did not want to miss. I think, was it I think it was the final one. And we went to see a great band as a family. And so like driving home from downtown to our house, like we were online virtually, like she was very committed. We would not miss a single one. She wanted to be there. The only time I think there was a little pushback was when we'd missed one due to a different commitment and we had to watch it online, and it was still okay. But, that was just like, nope, we're going to do this. Come on. We had to break it up a little bit. But other than that, we actually didn't have challenges of wanting to attend.
Okay. So, well, that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing up the video when you have to make it up, because that does happen. Life gets in the way. And so just for the people viewing or listening to this, I do offer a video supplement that you access as soon as you purchase the course, like a week before. And this allows families to use it as a booster, a reminder, so you can go back. You have access to it for 6 months from the time of purchase till the course ends. But the way it works is that it releases the current week after the live. So obviously the live is encouraged because that's when you see the other kids, you see the other families, you get live interaction with me too. But if for some reason life gets in the way, or maybe dad couldn't make it that time, or somebody was sick, you just weren't feeling well, you don't have to stress about missing, because then you can always access the video supplement to review, watch it at your own pace. So
yeah, it was great.
I do try to record it so that way to encourage, like, okay, now would be a good time to pause.
Yes.
And try to be as upbeat as I can when we're recording a video, but it is a video of me doing the same thing that I would have live, but there's no other kids, no other parents on that video. So yeah,
it was still good. It was just harder to motivate to, hey, come on, let's set this aside and do this now. As opposed to, hey, it's out of my routine. I've got Sunday night for that, right? So
yes. And with ADHD, sometimes task initiation to just get started when it's out of routine, that can be hard too. So yeah. Is there anything that surprised you about the course?
It's a good question. In some ways I wasn't totally sure what to expect. More just, we did the mini session, but I wasn't sure. So I'm not sure if I was surprised, but maybe pleasantly surprised, or just thrilled about, what I already shared about the comfort to just let Agent Squishmallow be Agent Squishmallow. And just, let her have the freedom to listen and engage. And she was so keen to type and all of that. And there was no judgment with wrong spelling. That was fine. And what else? I think I knew that emotional regulation was part of ADHD, but I didn't know that we'd spend so much time on it, or and it was really valuable, because that's something that's significant in our house and in the development as the kids get older, right? They just go through so many changes in hormones and big feelings. So to be able to have a tool, thankfully, it hasn't happened too often, and sometimes there's a change, but there have been times where I've had to take Agent Squishmallow and just sit down. There's been a bit of a very stressful situation and work through these tools. And so I think that was a good surprise for that. Yeah. And fun to find out what's in the box every week. What are we going to take out today? So, yeah.
Yeah. And again, for those watching, if you've not been in the class, we have a supply box that you get after you sign up. There is a smaller fee for that, just because of the supplies that are required and the time it takes to pack it. But We deliver it to your house, or if you're local here in Indiana, you can arrange for a porch pickup. However, it has everything you need to complete the hands-on activities and all of that week to week. So you don't have to go to the store. You don't have to do anything like that. You just simply open up the bag when I tell you it's time to open the bag each week. And what Senior Agent Gund was referring to was when you get the box, the kids are so excited to get mail, of course. So we open it right away. There's a clear bag which says start here. And it's materials that the kids can kind of sift through and kind of get their brains around, and get excited for their first class. But then the rest of the bags are opaque and they're labeled mission 1 through 8. And the instruction from headquarters is not to open it until that week's class, and you're logged on to headquarters, and then I tell them when it's time. That serves two purposes. One, it keeps kids excited and like, oh, I wonder what we're going to cover. And two, we don't lose anything.
Yes. It's great.
Yeah. And then lastly, I guess, in your own words, now that you've gone through it, is it something that you would recommend to other families? And anything you would recommend for families who are signing up, what they can do to get the most out of it?
Okay. Well, I would highly recommend the program. I already have actually shared it with a few of my friends who have slightly younger kids. As I said, Agent Squishmallow was at the top of the edge, but I would even say if your child is 12, do it now.
Yes.
And it worked for all ages, actually. It didn't that you've included in your span. I think it's encouraging for parents. I think it's encouraging for the child. Encouraging for your relationship, and you're left with tools that you can continue. Even just the other day, Agent Squishmallow and I, this was my idea, it wasn't hers, but let's review some of these things, and hey, remember. But it's been really helpful for parenting, and I think Agent Squishmallow felt more normal. She felt okay, less scared of ADHD, and I think. I don't think I'm ruining anything by saying this, but towards the end, you ask, what have I learned? What's a big takeaway? And I think it was so neat to hear all of the kids' takeaways. And I can't remember which junior agent said, I don't feel as scared about having ADHD. I mean, that's so common. That's invaluable. And I think first my junior agent Squishmallow, just a bit more confidence. She can talk to her friends about it a bit. I don't know what that was before, but I know she can just say, hey, even for example, on a day she didn't take her meds, she can say, I didn't take my meds today. So full energy version of me, so, so I do that. And to get the most of it, is that okay? Answer wise?
Oh,
that makes sense.
Absolutely. That was great. Thank you.
And I think to get the most of it, I think it's that commitment to follow through, to actually do the exercises, and even if you have a week where you couldn't, that you then make that up. I mean, there's still some that we haven't, for various reasons, fully completed a task, but we started it and we thought about it. And when our lives are able to, we'll do the things that might require a bit more energy. But overall, I think we committed to following through and doing all the activities as on timely as possible. And I think that just made it part of the routine and the fun and the journey. So yeah, I recommend it.
Have you had a chance to talk with Junior Detective Squishmallow and ask her what her standout points were at all? Did she share any of that, or even throughout the journey that she shared?
So her thing, I left it in her room. The thing that she took at most was, I think she has experienced, we learned about something called ANTS, automatic negative thoughts. And I think she's had a lot of those. And so to give them a name, as well as just to be able to catch herself in that, I'm having an ant, or, sometimes I'm also her ultimate Frisbee coach at school, and sports is one of those areas you can get automatic negative thoughts very quickly. So just to even leading up to that. So listen, what are you going to do if that starts happening? Because how you are on the team impacts the rest of the team and vice versa. Right. So things like that, I think that was one of her main takeaways. And she loves the calming, mindful glitter jar that we made. And and breathing and buckets and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 where
Yeah.
to help calm. So join and learn about those. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And had you prior to this taken a class with her before?
Um, no, I don't think so. Not like this. Like she had done a mindfulness class
Uh-huh.
and her sister had done it. But I had like saw the handouts, but I didn't really know what was going on. So I couldn't really, I thought it was great, but I couldn't very much reinforce or encourage or explain if something wasn't understood.
Mhm.
So I don't know how valuable that was. Whereas this, I know how valuable it was because I was there and we've discussed it and continue to.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for sort of bringing that up, because I think what makes this unique is that kids and parents take it together.
Yes.
So you're learning together, like you said at
Mhm.
the beginning, learning a common language, some strategies, and then after class, you feel empowered
Mhm.
to coach her through that or use
Yeah.
that language, refer back to it
Mhm.
easily.
I think that was one of my biggest selling points on why to
Yeah.
choose Teach Me ADHD.
Yeah.
It was the togetherness.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to just mention before I let you go? Thank you again
Hmm.
for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you for the work that you do and the investment and your time and your own story. So, no, I think this brings hope and lightness to something that can feel really overwhelming as parent, as a child. Um, and again, where it could be easy to go to tension, it brings together. So that would be my summary. It brings together with further education. Um, I don't know. I have someone else in my life who's always like, clarity takes away anxiety, right? And so I think this just offers your class offers clarity to both child and parent. It's
Yeah.
really needed. So
Oh,
thank you.
well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, as a reminder to those watching this at the time of recording, we are currently enrolling our January cohort. It's Tuesday, January 9th right now, and we're enrolling until Friday, January 12th. At the time of this recording, there are 6 spots left. So if you are interested in signing up, just head to my website, which is letstalkkidshealth.org. You'll see right there at the front of the page how many more days, hours, to sign up, and the button to get more information. And then hopefully we'll meet some of you at headquarters, and hopefully more Canadians, because you were our first family from Canada to join.
Great.
So it was amazing. It was
I'm
amazing.
recruiting a friend in the States for you right now, but I'll think of Canadians who might be interested too.
Well, thank you again.
Mhm.
I so love the fact that, it's 8 weeks long. I
Mhm.
get to meet fantastic families from all over. I get to know them. I get to know the kids and parents because we spend a lot of time together. And whenever we reconnect like this,
Mm.
it just warms my heart.
Yeah.
So I hope we can stay in contact and have periodic updates about Junior Detective, because now that you're part of the community, you're always part of the community. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right, and that's it from headquarters. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can send me a DM, an email, you can just comment below. But we are here, and hopefully we'll get to meet some of you soon. Thank you, and that's it for now.